Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV and Radio, where wisdom meets experience. Join a dynamic lineup of thought leaders, professionals, and changemakers from around the world. Dr. Madeline Chan from the UK, Mariska Dupreya from Australia, red.olaughlin from Texas, USA, Carolyn Heward from the UK, Zunette Lub from Cape Town, South Africa, as they share expert insights, personal journeys, and impactful strategies for success. Talking Heads isn't just a show, it's a global stage for education, collaboration, and inspiration. So elevate your knowledge, expand your perspective, engage in conversations that matter. Streaming globally, empowering locally, this is Talking Heads, only on USA Global TV and Radio.
Howdy y'all, red.olaughlin here. We're on Talking Heads, and today my show is about losing weight after the age of 50. Very elusive. It seems like it's nearly impossible. So that being said, let me get my slides lined up and just get started here real quickly. There we go. I have this dated last week. Supposed to do the show last week. Things happen, is what it is. But we're live streaming. This is not a podcast, although there are some podcasts that do eventually end up as the after effect of this. But this is live streaming TV. Amazon Fire, Zizzle TV, E360 TV, a couple channels on YouTube. Android and Apple TV, a lot of social media. I'm simulcasting this on 2 of my Facebook channels, and there's more. We have the audio programs that come out on podcasts that are the typical ones. I'm going to say is 18, 20 different platforms probably involved when everything is said and done. But for everything I'm talking about today, awareness and education. It's there for your entertainment, but basically awareness. So, red.olaughlin.com is my website. Red, like the color, R-E-D. Olaughlin, O-L-A-U-G-H-L-I-N, red.olaughlin.com. My social media, my books, lots of blogs, all sorts of stuff is available there. So if you want to know more about me, you want to get my books, that's one place to go. But I generally tell people just go to Amazon and you probably get the best deal there. Archives for the show and live shows are seen on YouTube on the USA Global TV portion of that, and I also have some archive shows on my red.olaughlin.com website. Okay, a little bit about me. I consider myself a researcher. I have never been in the medical or pharmaceutical fields, but I fell in love with chemistry way back when, sophomore in high school. Got my first degree in there. I have a number of degrees, a number of professional certifications, and I just always loved chemistry. And it wasn't until my wife came down with breast cancer, about 10 years ago, that I started changing and using chemistry to research the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking, looking for cause and effect relationships. So if you treat a cause, you're basically having a decent shot at fixing something. If you're treating symptoms, you won't, because you're not addressing the cause, and the cause could get worse. I spent 31 years in the Navy, 16 years as an aviator, retired as a captain. Been to 62 countries. I got an invitation to Vietnam back in the early 70s and went to Bosnia in the late 90s. Married 57 years, a couple of kids, 3 grandkids, and 1 great grandson who will be 2 years of age here in January. Best-selling author, 6 books, independent publisher. I've done over 50 books for other people. So if you're interested, contact me. I'll be more than happy to chat with you about that. One of my professional certifications is a distinguished Toastmaster. I'm a writer. I have over 1,000 LinkedIn articles, mostly on health and wellness. International Year 2024, I was ranked number 2 and number 6 for the shows that I do. For 6 months of this year, 2025, I was number 1. 2025 is going to be over pretty soon, so we see how the rankings come out then. But very, very happy with what I'm doing. I chose No Matter What You Can Do It because elusive weight loss after 50 is probably more mind control than it is anything else. And No Matter What You Can Do It is based on Dr. Maxwell Maltz's book, Psychocybernetics, that if you know how to talk to your subconscious mind, you can better control things in your life. So that is one book I think that sort of applies in the background to what we're talking about today, because we are using our subconscious mind to continue the habits that we're doing, and it's hard to change. So we'll talk more about that as things go on. And as I mentioned early on, everything I'm talking about today is educational purposes only. It's information, it's awareness. So you find something in there that says, hey, maybe this would work for me. Don't just do it. Go talk to somebody who's a professional. Might end up being your pharmacist because of some of the pills you're on. Might be your doctor. Anyway, talk to somebody, particularly in the medical field, that knows you, your body, and what's going on. Okay. My big word here on this slide is magic. It just seems like after 50, magic happens, and no matter what we do, we gain weight, we gain inches. It just happens. So what really causes us to start gaining weight after 50 years of age? Well, our bodies change. And as I said, magic. It seems like we can't do anything about it. And that's just the way it is. Nothing works. Well, they work for a short period of time, but we don't have the stamina to make it part of our lifestyle. So yeah, I can lose 20 pounds, but 2 months later, I'm back to where I was. So why did things work so well, 20, 30, 40 years ago and not now? I'm looking at, 40 years ago, mid 80s. Let's see, I've been in the military about 15 years or more, and I'd come into a flight physical. I could go run. I could do whatever I wanted. Boom, blood pressure under control. Boom, weight under control. Zero problems with any flight physicals. But as I got older and older and older toward the end of my military career, it just didn't seem to be as easy to do. But there again, I had some other changes. But age introduces change to our body, to our health. But they're incremental. They're so small, we don't even see them. Unless you have some trauma happening to you, just simple getting older really does have a big effect on our bodies. And we'll talk about that. I've talked about a lot of detail in this, going down to the cellular level, the chemical level. This happens and that happens and whatever. I'm keeping this up here at the 30,000 foot level today because it's just a general discussion. We can certainly get into that, but I've done a lot of other programs on it. I think some as many as 6 or 8 in a series over different weeks. Please go back to YouTube, to the USA Global TV and Radio Network, and look at the archives because you'll find a lot of information there. As we get older, we have a tendency to lose muscle mass, and as such, we burn less fat. Our muscle is our primary metabolic burner in our body. And so when it's active, when we're young, we're doing things, we're going out all over the place, we have a certain level of burn rate, and that burn rate burns those calories, keeps the fat off, keeps the weight down. But as I get older, maybe I'm not as active as I used to be. I become more of a couch potato. It doesn't matter that I'm not doing anything, but my mind doesn't see anything different, but my body does. My resting metabolic rate, my RMR, basically comes down because I'm not as active as I used to be. That activity really meant a lot. If you're getting up in the morning, rushing off to work, doing stuff all day long, coming home, running off to the gym, doing that, got a social engagement this night, you're busy. All of a sudden you're 50, 60 years of age, you're just a little tired, not interested in that tonight. Little by little, you're changing your lifestyle. And as such, your RMR starts to burn fewer calories because at rest, you're sitting there in a chair watching TV. You're reading a newspaper, reading a book, watching something, sitting in front of the computer. My resting metabolic rate is burning fewer calories at rest than I used to burn because I had a lot more muscle mass. And now as I get older, I have less and less. So that those fewer muscles that you have, the less muscle mass, means that we actually burn fewer calories. What does that mean? It means I eat the same thing and I gain weight. I add more fat to my body. It's really difficult when you start getting over 50, 60, 70 years of age to actually lose weight, because no matter what you do, you just can't do it. That's what it seems like. So we're going to talk a little bit in detail as to some of these things. So if I have more calories being eaten, by inference that I'm not burning as much, so I end up with more calories in my body by the same thing I used to eat. Didn't change what I ate, but I have a caloric gain because I'm not burning it off at rest. I'm not burning it off by exercising. That means I actually have a surplus, which means I have more fat on my body. So instead of having 30-inch waist, a 34-inch waist, a 38-inch waist, I now have a 40, 42, 44, 48-inch waist. Those things happen because that resting metabolic rate is not burning stuff out when you're not doing anything. So eating less mean you lose weight? Well, you would think so, but the answer is no, because your body is adaptable. You change something, your body's going to adjust to it. Okay, so you stop eating, let's take 500 calories out. Okay, I changed just what I ate, but I'm not changing anything else. My body's going to adapt to that new standard. Now, if I exercise a little bit more and I eat less, now I've done two things. Okay, that's a little bit more difficult for the body to adjust. So there's things you can do, but in the big scheme of things, there's not a single thing that causes you to gain weight after 50. Lots of things. Doing a single thing, eating less, is not going to fix that problem. There are just a lot of things causing the problems. And from an awareness perspective, let's talk about a few of them. So as we get older, we see a number of hormonal changes. Our human growth hormone goes way down. Back what you had as a toddler or teenager, we were just burning things like crazy. You get up 60, 70, 80 years of age, you have 10% of what you used to have as a teenager. And that human growth hormone was the gorilla in the room. It was the one that was in control of everything. You go through late 40s, 50s, menopause, again, major change. A lot of hormones change as you get older. As a result, fat starts being distributed around our gut, our mental. Also, visceral fat. It's a different kind of fat. You have brown fat, white fat, and you have visceral fat. This visceral fat is the ones that's sitting there right on top of your kidneys, your gallbladder, your liver. Everywhere you have an organ, you have this visceral fat that's surrounding it, suffocating it, so to speak. And so this visceral fat is the one that really becomes an age-related risk. So the abdominal fat we have, if you get enough of it, it's actually going to act like another organ in the body, because it literally has a mind of its own, and it has a different metabolic efficiency. Muscle burns fat, muscle burns calories very quickly. Fat does not. And so if you have this extra fat, it's going to try to protect itself. It doesn't want to be burned. So again, we have a battle going on. You lose a little bit of testosterone. That means I have less muscle mass, more fat. It's another source of lowering our metabolic rate. So I have hormone testosterone, boom, change that, more fat. Human growth hormone, same thing. The resting metabolic rate goes down, more fat. Lifestyle changes, particularly decreased physical activities. Sometimes they're medically induced. You take a certain medication, you can't do certain things. I was on some kind of blood pressure medicine. I couldn't get my heart rate over 40. It's just crazy. I had to talk to the doctor to get off of that one. But you can't burn if you don't even feel like doing it. Sometimes there's other reasons. There's just a lot of things going on. You get more senior at work. You're in your 50s, 60s, maybe 70s. You're still working. You have a desk job, more sitting. You're not as active as you used to be. I have something wrong now with the yard of the car. I had a gallbladder operation back in the early 2000s. My wife got a yard guy. That's 5 hours a week of yard work I don't do anymore. I haven't done forever. I still work in the yard, but not with the same intensity of what I used to do. Same thing around the house. There's something here that needs to be done. Hire somebody to do it. So sometimes we'd rather pay than do it ourselves. That translates into, one of those magic formulas for gaining and keeping weight that we're not aware of. Non-exercise activity, thermogenesis, NEAT. It's one of those measurements of what's going on in our body, kind of like that resting metabolic rate. It declines with age. So I'm walking, I'm standing, I'm cooking, I'm watching TV. This non-exercise activity, thermogenesis, declines. I'm burning less fat. I exercise less. I lose. Okay, if I exercise more, I lose a few pounds. If I exercise less, I actually gain a few pounds. So I add more fat to my body. And it happens every day. It's magic. We don't have to do anything to control it. It just happens. And because it happens so incrementally, we don't even notice. We put on the same pair of pants or shirt, and all of a sudden, maybe I have a little bit more tighter buttoning it, or I can't get the belt around to the same notch I used to have. Things happen, but they don't happen overnight. So our metabolic efficiency declines with age. And they say generally a pound, maybe 2 pounds a year. So if I'm at a certain weight at age 40, I may gain, 8, 10, 12 pounds by the time I'm 50. And without changing a whole lot, I may end up with another 8, 10, 12 pounds by the time I'm 60. So from my weight at 40 to my weight at 60, I probably have an extra 15 or 20 pounds that I didn't have earlier. But it came on so slowly, I really didn't notice it. And our bodies adapt. I mentioned earlier, you eat a few less calories, our body's going to adapt accordingly. I exercise a little bit more. But again, if I only do it for 2 months and I stop, the body's going to go right back to where it was. So our adaptive response, the ability to change quickly, declines with age. So now the thing I used to rely on, let me go out and run 5 miles for a couple of days and I can pass my flight physical. That doesn't work as quickly as it used to. Maybe I now need to run 5 miles 4 days in order to be the same place I was before. We have another thing called adaptive thermogenesis. Our bodies have a certain temperature setting, and that set point is for our body heat. And you see a lot of people, I know it, I see it in my wife, I see it in myself. What we're comfortable with, where I set my air conditioner at 20 years ago isn't anywhere where I set my air conditioner heater at nowadays. So we have different set points, and that thermogenesis is another one of those factors that's burning fat. So as we see, our age, just getting older, makes those changes. We don't know what we don't know. It's one of those things, unless you're attending classes on weight loss over 50, on YouTube, a webinar, reading books, watching something, we don't know what we don't know. So that's one of the advantages of the program like this one on USA Global TV and Radio Network, is that we have a chance to become aware of something. If you're aware of it, then you want to know more about it. Oh, let me go look up this doctor on YouTube, or this doctor over here, or maybe read this book. Now I'm becoming educated. Now I can ask an intelligent question of my doctor. What about this? I've found that most doctors, generally speaking, you say, okay, I need to lose a little bit of weight or whatever. They will generally let you do something on your own. Let's say I have high blood pressure. It's not very high, but say, hey, doc, what if I just lose a little bit of weight and exercise more? He says, okay, come back in 3 months. Let's check you out again. Well, if I can get that under control and come back in 3 months, he's happy. I did not get issued any pills to lose blood pressure. So there are a lot of things you can do, but you got to talk to your doctor about it. And if you have a question that comes up in one of these slides, remember that when you go there, say, hey, doc, what about this? Because they're generally pretty well knowledgeable, except for nutrition. That's an area they really don't know a lot about. But anyway, I think probably one of the best people to talk to is your pharmacist, because they know a lot more than what we give them credit for. So you think you're doing everything right, but it's just one of those things. I'm a pound heavier than last year. I haven't done anything different. Our metabolic efficiency changes. Our hormones level change. Our exercise changes. Our fat levels change. Our muscle mass changes. Everything changes. Maybe for the good, maybe for the bad. But when it's age related, it's generally not necessarily supporting your health. It's not supporting fat loss and weight loss. Okay. Age also increases our visceral fat. We talked about that. If you just grab an inch or two around your gut, that's your subcutaneous fat. That's not maybe 30, 40 pounds or something. It's a certain kind of fat. If we are stressed out all the time, cortisol is a stress hormone. It loves to store fat around our gut. And we have 4 times more fat receptors in our gut area than we do anywhere else in our body, which is why that fat seems to go there faster than anywhere else. But the visceral fat that's inside next to our organs, that's the one that's the most dangerous. And as such, if you're looking for something, again, YouTube is probably one of the best places to go to. How do I lose visceral fat? And they'll give you diets, they'll give you exercises, they'll give you everything there. I usually look at 4, 5, 6 different ones. Okay, let me now, okay, I want to do this. Let me look more on exercise and visceral fat. Or maybe I want more on diet and visceral fat. There is just a lot of information out there. Look at the source, look at the credibility of the doctor, what his or her background is. But there's a lot of stuff there that can be used. And some of it may be, just walk an extra mile a day, an extra 3,000 steps, whatever it may happen to be. Might be something very easy to do. You're not changing a whole lot. A lot of the stuff we're talking about, this visceral fat, usually ends up affecting something else in our body. Inflammation, insulin resistance, leptin resistance. There's just a lot of different resistances we have in our bodies that are affected by this visceral fat and the different hormonal levels that we don't have the same level that we had 20 years ago. And as a result, the risk of age-related diseases increase. Our longevity number, whatever that may happen to be, decreases as a result. So we look at lifestyle factors, and these are the things I've talked about quite a bit. I was truly amazed at how much lifestyle factors contributed to our health and to our aging. I did a series of talks on the hallmarks of aging and the hallmarks of health. And it seemed like almost every single time that if I wanted to improve this hallmark to reduce my aging or to improve my health, they had some level of connection with a lifestyle factor. My eating, my calories, my exercise, my stress management, my sleep quality, all of those lifestyle factors contributed to some level of health, some level of aging. And so if you can control your lifestyle factors, that's probably one of the best places to start, because those are things you do every single day. You have leptin resistance, ghrelin resistance. Leptin tells you start eating. If you pay attention, there's a certain time when the body will tell the brain, stop, you're right there where you need to be. And sometimes we feel it. If you're listening for it, you will feel it, but it won't be there very long. It'll be there 20, 30 seconds and gone. And if you stop eating and you look at the plate, I haven't even finished half of what's on my plate. And so you blow by it and you finish off your plate. Well, you can thank your parents for that if they say you got to clean your plate. Well, that's one of the habits we started way back when. But when we stop eating and obey our leptin resistance telling, our leptin signal telling us to stop eating, that's great. But when we don't, we gain weight because we're adding more calories. Ghrelin's the other end of it. It's telling us, okay, my stomach's been empty long enough. I need more food. It's the hunger hormone. It tells you to eat. Okay. But the thing is, what we have a habit of eating, one of the worst places to go is a all you can eat place, because you just pile stuff on and you go back for seconds. Years and years ago, I'm going to say decades ago, I switched to a salad plate for dinner. That's what I put stuff on. You automatically reduce the number of things you can eat by cutting back the amount, by cutting back the number of calories. But there's sometimes I sit there and I have a small plate and it's loaded up. I get to that point and I'm feeling I got to stop eating, and I look at the plate. I still have half the food on the plate. I took my wife out to dinner the other day for Veterans Day, and both of us, we got about halfway through our meal, and I had to order doggy bags because we couldn't finish it. And we had probably pushed ourselves over that leptin level of saying, hey, stop. Anyway. But age affects our eating habits, and that age, because we're so integrated in this is what I'm going to eat, this is how much I'm going to eat, and maybe there's a different way of preparing it. It tastes better, or there's a lot of different factors there, or I'm going out to eat because somebody else is paying for it. It's a birthday dinner. We have lots of reasons why we eat. But that is probably the biggest cause, because we have those extra calories coming in, extra weight, extra fat. Stress. I talked about cortisol. It's a hormone. It loves to store fat around your waist. How many of us actually concentrate on some kind of stress management on a daily basis? Breathing exercises, meditation, yoga, Tai Chi. There's a lot of different things that we can do on a daily basis just to reduce the level of stress we have. And maybe some are more applicable to others. It's a nice day outside, and go out for a walk. Sunshine, fresh air. A lot of things help, but we have to do it literally almost every single day, because stress can be a major factor in our after 50 weight gain. So stress, we know, will interrupt your sleep. If you're having a problem going to sleep, and it's the same thing keeps rolling around in your brain, that is probably a major clue that stressor is what's causing you not to sleep. That same stress is causing you to gain weight. Stress will also reduce your interest in exercising. I'm not interested. But one of the things that stress does do is it combines with comfort food and say, hey, here's a happy meal. And so you take those comfort foods, maybe it's ice cream, maybe it's potato chips, who knows what it is. But now all of a sudden I feel more comfortable. That stress appears to disappear. It doesn't. It's cumulative, but you're hiding it, you're masking it with food. Sometimes elderly people take a lot more medicines. They interfere with each other because we don't know what medicines do to other medicines. So we end up with a lot of problems. Antidepressants, beta blockers, just a few, will increase weight because they are affecting other parts of our body. And again, your pharmacist is a good person to talk to. If you're having a problem with something, maybe antidepressant is not the best thing to take. Maybe there are other options. Maybe a beta blocker is not the best thing to be taking for that one. Maybe there's something else out there that will work as well but not cause some problems. Ask yourself, are you eating the same foods in the same amount you did a long time ago? If you sit down at your plate tonight and you look at that and you say, back when I was whatever age, pick an age, 35, 45, is this basically the same thing you were eating? Piece of chicken, mashed potatoes, gravy, corn, whatever's on that plate. Or are you eating something different? I'm eating a whole lot more fish now than I used to eat 40 years ago. I'm eating a lot less of some things that I know can be a problem, carbohydrates for sure. But I'm also not eating foods that I never ate before, a lot of green stuff. There was a certain period of time that I was eating a lot of greens. Somehow I ended up getting that habit changed. But let's look at the types of food you're eating, the amounts of foods. They affect your metabolism. Our family history, our genes affect our weight gain with age. So the environmental changes we're talking about year over year, they are generally, you can't see them. Again, I put it on the title magic, but they're hard to identify. We can't see that. We see our shirts getting tighter. We buy a bigger shirt. And so now the old shirt that I wore 40 years ago, I can't get into because now I have 3 inches, 4 more inches in my gut. I can't get into it. So our bodies are working magic on us every single day to gain weight, to gain fat. And we don't know what we don't know. Diets, there's so many of them out there, and they're very short term. You got the very low calorie diets, you got the extreme restrictions, you got time restricted eating, and intermittent fasting. If you eat the exact same foods 3 meals a day and you change that to 1 meal a day, you will lose weight because of that time restriction in there. There is a factor of time does make a difference. Alternate day fasting, high protein, high fat, or ketogenic diet, a very low carb diet. I was on Atkins for 6 years. I lost 7-8 inches in my waist. I lost 40-45 pounds, kept it off for years. Got out of the military and gradually went back onto a non-Atkins diet. One of the things I learned at that time was Atkins, because of what you're eating, no carbs, changes your body's pH which changes your ability to store calcium in your bones. And I took a what do you call it, bone density test, and I was osteopenia. Surprised me, as many weights as I've lifted and the number of miles I've run, I figured I would never ever have a bone density problem. Well, once I started figuring out what causes calcium to go into the bone, it's not the same thing it causes to come out. But then you have to get the calcium there, and then you have to keep the calcium there. Two different entirely chemical pathways. So if you're taking the right calcium and you don't have the right kind of foods, it's either end up in the toilet or it's going to end up in your heart valves and arteries, because you have to have the right mixture of things. So there's a lot of issues there with low carbs that most people aren't aware of. So if I'm piling up on protein and fat, that is something that makes my body pH decrease, acidic. Fruits and vegetables cause it to be alkaline. A lot of things are going on. Again, we don't know. Detox diets, cleanses, juice fats, food elimination diets, superfood focus. Many things are going on there, but again, ultra low fat, very high protein, they call them caveman paleo, but and some of them are technology based. I wear this watch to tell me, okay, I know what's going on. I can see it. Now I'm getting some feedback. That's good. That's really good. But I need to change a lifestyle to keep that monitor in that same place, because all of a sudden I notice, okay, well, that's fine, but I can see something is going on as opposed to magic. I don't see it. So if I don't change my lifestyle, I don't see any change in my weight or fat storage long term. I need to do something. A simple diet is probably not going to do it. A lifestyle change will. Supplements, fat burners, yeah, they work. But again, they're not going to give you 6 months a year because people can't stand them that long. Special shakes, burn belly fat, short-term success, a lot of water weight. Your probably first 12, 15 pounds is water weight. When I lost a lot of weight with Atkins, I was living in Germany. I go down to Italy for a weekend. I'd gain 11, 12 pounds because I'd eat pasta and bread. And I come back to Italy and it'd take me about a pound a day, about 2 weeks to lose 12 pounds. Because I would gain 12 pounds in Italy. But it wasn't fat loss, it was water weight loss. But most of what we're doing it results in muscle mass loss, which results in fat gain. I'm not burning fat as much as I used to, so I'm not gaining it, but I'm still eating the same. My fat goes up. Muscle preservation is not preached as we typically see it. Use it or lose it, but it's not applied to after 50. I really need my muscle mass, my strength preserved, because that's what's keeping my body in check with regard to fat. Fat diets, yeah, they usually work, but they're not sustainable. Now, I already told you my story with Atkins. Underlying chemical process is not well understood. I told you that with regard to calcium in regard to getting into the bones. Our bodies, literally, they're on the defensive. They want to store fat. And so when you try to do something to change it, you're battling yourself. Resistance is futile. We've heard that about the board. It gets worse as you get older. That resistance doubles down, triples down on you. It's an intense discipline. That's why I said my book that I referenced earlier. If you can talk to your subconscious mind and understand how to break a habit, how to establish a new habit, now you have your brain working for you in addition to everything else. But it takes a very intense discipline. Don't look at anything short term. I'd say don't look at anything under 6 months. Everything you should be, after 50 years of age, you should be looking at on 6 month, year and a half, year, 2 year basis. But our long term results, typically, we don't have that discipline. We slow down. We have fatigue. We have, again, the uniqueness of aging causes our physiology to change. And we really need to step back and look at what am I actually doing versus what I should be doing. Assess what your lifestyle choices are today. What works? Again, long term. Exercise, muscle mass, that increases your resting metabolic rate. Functional mobility, you're actually able to do things. Flexibility, balance. Nutrition is super critical in order to get the right things to get the calcium to your bones rather than to your heart valves and arteries, to keep everything in balance in your body. the right level of proteins, the right level of quality fats. They notice in animal studies, you do a 30% cutback in calories, animals live longer. They live healthier. Their peers have a lot of health issues toward the end of life. I'm a very big believer in doing at least a 72-hour fast every month. Autophagy doesn't start until about 16, 18 hours, but it really is not 100% until you're 2 hours into a fast. And that's the part of our body that goes into every cell, cleans it out, recycles things, basically gives you a new internal working mechanism. Lifestyle changes, that's what you need. You don't need a short-term diet change. Okay. Training, again, focus on visceral fat reduction, not just fat reduction. Look at the kinds of measurements you need to have a hormonal balance, quality of sleep. There's a lot of things out there. Manage your stress better. Better monitoring, wearables, a weight scale, continuous glucose monitor. So many things are out there. It's, again, weight loss is a ultra marathon sport that doesn't really have an ending point. It's not a sprint. And we don't look at it that way. We think, okay, I can quit in 6 months and go back, but it doesn't work. Older age generally means slow results. Set your expectations accordingly. Emphasize functional outcomes, not weight loss, not inch loss, but strength, agility, balance, those kinds of things. Have inner milestones. Where do I want to be in 3 months? Maybe I can hang from a bar for 45 seconds versus 10 seconds. There are a lot of things that you can do, but measured in months, not in weeks. Concentrate on sustaining something. Again, you're changing your mindset and you're changing your lifestyle. And avoid those things. Lose 30 pounds in 30 days. It's very demotivating because you get 30 days, you haven't lost 30 pounds, and then you gain it back in the next 30 days. Just not a good way to be. AI might have some help. There's a lot of things on AI that will help you from a personalized monitoring and tracking perspective. Behavioral change support. You want to change something? Ask AI to be your support partner. Dietary assessment patterns. AI has a very great predictive ability. It helps you with those plateaus. It helps you with weight regain, helps you adjust back to where you need to be. AI gives you a lot of good tailored interventions. It helps you with if you have issues with mobility or comorbidities. It's a good at-home coaching option. So take advantage of it. And again, I think I have a slide on here. Yeah. Medication assessment. Ask AI what you're having, because now you have an independent authority say, I'm on this and this and this. What do you think? Well, what should I be on? What can I do to get off of this? A lot of things are there. Now you can go to your doctor and say, I want to get off of this one. This is what I want to do. What do you think? Get your professional person who's responsible for your health. You're involved. AI, if you're just saying, what is, you're garbage in, garbage out. The biggest problem with AI is people don't focus on the prompt. I take about 2 pages of prompt in order to ask AI for some of my research that I do to research the human body. You really need to tell AI who they are, what you want, why you want it, how you want the information displayed, who that information is going to. There's a lot of information that you need to do to use AI properly. But focus on the core foundational, your core foundational behaviors. What has worked before? What's not working now? What do you need to adjust? Not change, not replace, but adjust. We have a lot of problems that cause weight gain, fat gain. 1 or 2 is not going to get rid of it. You need to incorporate all of them into whatever you're doing. So hormonal balance, nutritional deficiency, lots and lots and lots of things need to come into focus. So multi-level change, AI as a tool, nothing more. Use it wisely. Food choices, exercise, sleep, stress, monitoring. Again, many lessons learned. I go with carbs. If you go with carbs 1 meal a week and you're on a fairly low carb diet, that's not going to affect anything. You go with carbs 2, 3, 4 meals a week, you're going to have it right back to where you were. But minerals and vitamins are better from foods, not pills. And measure your pH. I think that might be my last one. Yeah, it is. So that being the end of today's program, I bid you adieu. And again, awareness, education, take it from here. Bye, y'all.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover Holy but Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
5 little-known secrets for dementia caregivers with Tracy Cram-Perkins.
Hi there, I am Tracy Cram-Perkins, the host of the Dementia Home Care Show here on USA Global TV and Radio. I am also the author of the book of the same name. And you'll see this QR code. This is for an extended version of the same talk. So if you want to see the full hour-long version, feel free to scan the code and go to that website. Stick with me. We'll talk about 5 little-known secrets to make it a little easier to do dementia caregiving. What you're seeing on the left-hand side is a healthy aged brain, age 55 and above. The one you're seeing on the right is an Alzheimer's disease brain. It is in moderate disease. It is shrinking. It has holes in it. The memories that were in those holes no longer exist. When you're learning something, let's say in kindergarten, you learn how to tie your shoelace. Well, then by the time you're in 2nd grade, your brain remembers that information from tying the shoelace and applies it so you can learn more quickly how to tie more complex knots. So the brain is hardwired to do this for us, so it helps us learn faster so it doesn't take us long to acquire knowledge. The brain is looking for the information and they pick the closest to wherever that hole is. Let's look at some tips that we can use to help do that.
These are 5 simple tools you can use as a dementia caregiver to help your loved one. The whiteboard is a useful tool in recording the day's activities and the answers to repetitive questions. The calendar clock is a very useful tool to orient your loved one on the day, the date, and the time, and remind them of upcoming appointments. The communication cards are a great tool to bridge the gap when they can no longer tell you what's wrong. And then there's the pill minder for when your loved one is still able to take pills but needs prompting. The final tool I want to share with you is the memory book. It tells your loved one's story. It's a great tool for distraction, redirection, also as a conversation starter, and telling you where they are in their story so you know how to answer their questions. Music is probably the most powerful tool in your toolbox after laughter. Music is a way to maintain connection. It sticks with your brain longer than any other thing, including reading. When you're having an issue with somebody, you can play their favorite music if you move them to another room, something that makes them happy, or you can start singing songs together from their childhood. These are some of my favorite books for caregivers. My show airs on the 3rd Tuesday of every month, and you can view past episodes on YouTube. Thank you, everyone.
This program has been brought to you in part by Tracy Cram-Perkins. Connect with her and order her book at tracycramperkins.com. For more information about Alzheimer's disease, support resources, and how you can help, contact the Alzheimer's Association at 1-800-272-3900 or visit their website at www.alz.org. They offer 24/7 helpline support and a wealth of information to assist you and your loved ones.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honored to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.